Just to do one thing. You drop your bag of chips on the dog's ass. Dum 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 dum.
It's snowing.
Is it still? Yeah. Oh, racist. What purpose? Oh, I thought that said banana. Banana potato chips. Yum. New York Chatter. Chatter? Chatter.
Did you read that?
No, it says chatter.
Chatter?
Yeah.
Not chatter. What about shatter?
Eeny, meeny, miny, sugar, if you follow, let it go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
With over 600,000 square miles, large swaths of this hostile and remote environment remain unexplored.
You are not a banana split fish in a bucket.
Undetected.
His intentions are to kill and to eat you. That was 1,450 pounds.
So as you can tell, I'm only level 5.
Long, you know, and it's like, man, what that can do to you? I had 200 stitches, staples, and sutures in my head.
Artists have described brown bears that weigh close to a ton. And that
So dumb.
on 2 feet would be more than twice the height of the average man. The creatures have massive jaws capable of crushing bones. Razor-sharp claws, able to scalp a man in a single blow.
How would you scalp a man when they're already bald?
Alaska, some 20 lived in
You take their bum out.
And with them came the largest land carnivore that had ever existed.
Get ya.
The giant short-faced bear was big enough to hunt horses and was a true terror.
I don't think they feared anything.
Dr. Blaine Schubert is one of the world's leading experts on giant short-faced bears.
This had to deal with an animal with a skull like this. To humans, these animals have been really dangerous.
Weighing in at 2,000 pounds and standing 14 feet on its hind legs, the giant short-faced bear was a monstrous-looking beast. But this prehistoric monster is thought to have gone extinct during the last ice age, leaving only fossil remains of their once unchallenged reign. There have been several ice ages in the history of the Earth. The last began about 70,000 years ago and ended 10,000 years ago. Right around the time the giant short-faced bear was thought to have died out. But if brown, black, and polar bears survived the last ice age, could the giant short-faced bear, or one of its descendants, also have survived somewhere in this remote landscape?
I would say that there's, perhaps a 1% chance that you could have an animal like this.
Holy crap.
There may still be
Action
something
players.
very important hiding in the world.
Matt Billy is an author and researcher specialized in cryptozoology. He believes that mysterious bears still roam these Arctic plains.
Some reports we hear might concern surviving prehistoric bears. That's a scientific mystery that needs to be examined.
Medkit.
Because the ramifications are potentially very large.
It's what nightmares are made out of.
Jim Oltersdorf is a professional wildlife photographer. He's been exploring the Alaskan wilderness for many years.
Out in this stuff, somewhere,
You get to do that.
there's yet to be discovered
Offering.
that is much bigger than what's on the books right now. You bet.
But not everyone agrees.
It's like the campfire boogeyman. People like to scare each other when they're out camping, telling horror stories.
That's pretty good.
John Hechtel is a retired wildlife biologist. He's been studying bears for over 30 years. During that time, he's seen many unusual specimens, but none of them that can't be explained.
Has as a scientist.
Are you gonna eat your banana potato chips? New York cheddar. New York cheddar. New York cheddar.
Bear pudding is stored in the bones of one of the nation's most prestigious institutions.
One of the great mysteries of the bear world is
New
called
York
McFarlane's
cheddar.
bear.
New York cheddar. New York cheddar. New York cheddar.
McFarlane's bear was killed in 1864 by native hunters in Canada.
Is this guy getting ready up? Come on, come on, come on, come on.
McFarlane shipped the skull and the skin of this particular bear to the Smithsonian Institution. They rested there until 1918, when the great zoologist C. Hart Merriam started a reevaluation of the bears of North America. When
Matt
Merriam
starts
came
in 10,
across this
9, 8,
particular
7,
bear,
6,
he thought the skull
5,
and teeth
4,
were very
3,
unusual.
2, 1,
He
go.
felt that this was so outside of the brown bear range that this animal was not a brown bear at all. Merriam speculated that it might come from an ancient line of descent, something that included the Tremarctine bears, of which the best known is the giant short-faced
Out.
bear.
Let's see what killer is in.
Which means the ancient
Come on, killer. What are you? What are you? What am I? What am I? What are
The
you?
remains of a giant short-faced bear nearly 10,000 years after it was supposed to
Stop telling me
die
what the
out.
killer is. Who the killer is?
And is there a link between these prehistoric predators and sightings of monster-sized
Come on, tell me who the killer is.
Walk across the log like it was a toothpick.
Please.
October 2001, 22-year-old Ted Winnan was goose hunting on Hinchinbrook Island,
No.
Alaska, when he came face to face with a giant.
But we were following this
Please,
creek,
please, please,
and
please,
we
please,
happened
please,
upon
please,
some
please,
tracks,
please, please.
So we decided to follow these tracks because they looked pretty heavy-footed, so we thought it might be a mature animal. Right away noticed
Didn't tell me what the
pine tree that
goddamn killer was.
spot, like, looked
So
like something
stupid.
laying down there, and
I'm
my
next
partner
to
examined
someone.
a little bit closer, and I just kind of popped my head up and just wanted to look. That's when I first see the bear. It's probably about
What? Oh.
yank him to the ground with me. Immediately threw the gun up.
All three of us failed it.
And he was probably about 10 yards away. His head was just absolutely massive. My partner's yelling, shoot, 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 shoot. So I fostered right on his eye and squeezed the first round. And I shot, emptied the gun, went ahead and reloaded and shot a couple more times. Like 6 shots. I wasn't getting stopped.
Oh my god.
In this picture, we see its massive body.
Holy crap, that scared the hell out of me.
The bear
Don't run into cars. No, this is not the time.
1,200 pounds. This giant was said to be 8 times bigger than the average sized bear on Hinchinbrook Island when the bear was shot.
Every once in a while, you get these enormous bears. You get these 1,200-pound, 1,400-pound bears. And it's very interesting to wonder whether they are expressing some ancient genes that go back to the Ice Age in these individuals.
Yeah, there's odd-looking bears around. There's variations in size, probably even the occasional equivalent of a 7-foot
Are you kidding me?
large here at,
Are you just gonna spawn camp?
that's just a function of the natural variability.
But reports of bears 3 times bigger than the average suggest that something other than a variation of species might be going on. McFarlane's bear is classified as holotype, meaning it is a rare collected specimen of a species. Very few people are granted permission to examine holotypes. But Dr. Blaine Schubert, as curator of the Tennessee State University Natural Science Museum, will be granted access to examine McFarlane's bear. While Dr. Schubert awaits his appointment in the Smithsonian, he will fly to Alaska and team up with Jim Olterstorff. If the giant short-faced bear or a mysterious
Are you kidding me?
this is the most likely place to find it.
Some of the largest
Did they finish this?
They'll head off to the Kenai Peninsula. It has one of the highest concentrations of big bears anywhere in the world. They will search for evidence of abnormally large or unusual looking bears. And they will try to measure and weigh those bears by setting bases right over an electronic scale. Normally used to
Come on.
farming,
Keep laying
this
down.
rugged piece of equipment could be perfect for giant-sized bears. With the bears just out of their dens and desperately looking for food, Jim and Blaine are going to play a game of fights with the world's largest land carnivores. And Monster Quest travels through the most densely populated state in the U.S., where this amazing footage of bears mating for supper was filmed. Alaska, home to some of the world's biggest bears. But could these Arctic plains also harbor a monster? A monster quest expedition
Shit.
is searching for proof.
Did it way too early.
But strange bear reports are not restricted to Alaska. This astonishing home video was shot in April 2008 by Charles Russell,
Here, I'm gonna heal you.
resident of Lake Wanda, New Jersey. Lake Wanda is just 45 minutes away from Manhattan.
Yeah, I already completed it, numb nut.
Bears have literally taken over.
I've never seen anything like this in my life.
Experienced hunter and outdoorsman Eric Funk is New Jersey born and bred.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button.
Observing the situation for the past several years.
Well, the bear population now has become very used to
Shit, I pressed the wrong button. And then I pressed the right button.
association with food of outdoor grills, dog food. So once they lose their fair humans and their food sources become together and become one, and they see people as being a source of food, that's when you have a problem.
For the residents of Lake Wanda, their peaceful suburban community is suddenly bear territory.
Hooked. Alright, I'm gonna go get him.
Frightening prospect.
Here he was.
I can see you, stupid ass killer.
Bill Laverty has been living here for 8 years.
You could be sitting up here having a barbecue, and next you know he's going to smell it. And who's coming for dinner? Nothing. So they want in your house.
Stop!
Your house.
In recent months, there has been a dramatic increase in bear activity around Lake Wanda. Monster Quest teams up with Eric Buck as he investigates these recent sightings and encounters.
And as you see here, the bear put his paws right up on him and he's looking right to get in this window. And this is someone's home here. He could have been right in there.
But on the other side of the continent,
Arrest it.
home to the world's biggest bear. And some reports suggest that it could also be home to something that defies classification. Some kind of bear-like monster might have survived the last.
I'm not able to heal. What the hell?
Eyewitnesses say the creatures are
So dumb. Cause
weighing
of it.
as much
Is
as
it
a
cause?
small car.
Oh God! Chasing Ghostface. Goddamn no!
Paleontologist Blaine Schubert and
I know this is not it, but I get XP for it.
are off to the Alaskan Road, looking for giant bears. They are going to the Kenai Peninsula, where the biggest Alaskan brown bears can be found.
Just turn your wheel. She'll come around. You're good. You're not coming. Keep your wheels that way. She'll fall right off as soon as you get deep enough. Just up, ready to go? Ready to go.
To reach base camp,
Where's this
Jim
guy?
and Blaine will have to cross Ski Lac Lake.
This is a big lake. It's
See in here?
long. You got white caps out there. It's picking up.
No, dude, heal me.
Jim and Blaine just caught a glimpse of their first bear. but chances are the bear has also seen them.
I think anybody who comes in
Don't stab me.
and they're not a little bit nervous, there's probably something wrong with that individual.
The largest bear I've ever seen was approximately.
This
10
ghost
feet
face
tall.
stuck.
You could tell he was dominant just by the gesture of the glance.
This is what ghost face sucks. I thought that was like
Simply saying,
another
"Get away from me,
killer, because
and you'll be okay.
the
Push me one more
fat guy, the clown,
by getting
looks exactly like him.
1 inch closer."
Sounds exactly like him. It looks exactly like him. You're from a game and I'm from a movie or TV show.
The scientific community has firmly established that there are 8 species of bears throughout the world. But in 2006, American hunter Jim Martell was in the Northwest Territories when he shot and killed a bear that shocked the scientific world.
Yay! That noise that he made.
The picture had the cruel fur of a polar bear, but it also
I'm
had
following Bill Nye. Your mom's a guy.
back and round
Is he
back
still over near here?
characteristics normally associated with grizzly bears. DNA testing. It was the first ever polar grizzly hybrid born in the wild. The bear was dug physically by the media and was the last thing that bear researchers and biologists could ever have expected.
I got hit by that? Are you kidding me?
Expert on wildlife DNA. He analyzed and confirmed the hybrid bear shot by Martell.
Species that are relatively divergent, mate back together, they breed together. Colonies of genes that haven't seen each other.
The wild hybrid has some people wondering if interbreeding between bear species could have been occurring unnoticed for thousands of years.
This happened even in the 80s.
Wonder where I am.
Non-humans really elegant.
God damn it, I tried to enter it fast. What the hell? What? Please don't, please don't, please don't. I was hoping you wouldn't see it. Can you not spawn get me?
I don't know what that means in the long run. I'm not sure if these chants that they have to deliberately play a role in the species structure.
All 8 species of living bears come from the same family, Ursidae.
Stop!
The little bear and the giant
God damn.
diverged from the cities approximately 12 billion years ago. The sloth bear diverged 7 billion years ago, followed closely by the Asiatic black bear and the American black bear. The sun bear diverged from the lineage approximately 5 billion years ago. The last divergence occurred approximately 400,000 years ago, when the polar bear diverged from the brown bear. The brown bear, polar bear, also
Yes, risk it for me. Thank you so much.
brown bears
Never mind.
and grizzly bears are essentially the same animal that diverge
Yeah, I'm dead.
geographically. Brown bears live within 200 miles of the coast.
Oh my god, I hate people like that.
The coastal brown
The spawn
bears
camp.
are bigger and more carnivorous than the grizzly bear. Brown bears can get as big as 1,600 pounds. Kill a moose with a single bite. These omnivores are considered to be the most aggressive of all bears. The polar bears can get even bigger and reach almost 2,000 pounds. Although normally not as aggressive toward humans as the brown bear, they are essentially carnivores. When they do attack, they are ferocious killing machines. Their respective territories are quite different, but they do intersect from time to time. So if hybridization has been occurring for centuries, could it explain the unusual sightings? One thing is certain. A bear with the strength of a polar and the aggression of a grizzly would be a formidable killer.
You have a carnivorous bear with enormous strength. It would be a very scary thing.
One wonders if such a creature could migrate to the southern end of the grizzly's range, which reaches as far south as Wyoming. In Alaska, Blaine Schubert and Jim Oldesdorf are setting up camp a few miles away from the Kenai River, where the biggest brown bears feed on.
What do you mean, what now? You know exactly what now. Me are free? Are you kidding me?
Once the tents are up, Jim and Blaine surround them with an electrical fence.
Yeah, that looks good. Is the same voltage you load for cattle? Yeah, it's exactly the same. The important thing is we can't let them droop on the ground, so we'll just get it squared and then we'll pull them out. Yeah.
It will not stop an enraged bear from charging the Monster Quest camp, but it should deter a curious bear.
Looks like it's working. You bet. I'm going to sleep a whole lot better tonight. How about you? At least until I hear that zap.
As an added security measure, they also put up an early warning system, an audio alarm hooked up to an infrared motion detector.
Hey, Blaine, you want to come over and take a walk through, see if this will work? All right, hey, working.
If the bear they spotted on the way in comes up the beach during the night, everyone will know about it. The team is justified in their precautions. Recently, unusual bear sightings
Alright, yep, I'm ready.
bear biologists and native Alaskans.
I'm ready to die.
It's coming out to you to keep you up, you know?
10,000 years ago, the giant short-faced bear was a monstrous predator. It was a carnivorous bear 5 times the size of a lion and could outrun a horse. Nothing would make it back down from a fight. Today, evidence of unusual-looking bears and chilling behavior are reported across North America, suggesting that bears as unusual beings are still among us. In March 2008, an unusual-looking bear was spotted in the Native American village of Fort Yukon in Alaska's Yukon Flats.
Oh no, the only.
Villagers reported
That sounds
seeing a
pretty
mysterious white-colored
fake.
bear hanging
Like, I'm
around
actually
the
kind of
town
scared of the only.
dump, showing
Never faced
no
off
fear
against
of
him,
man.
but I don't like him.
No one in Fort Yukon
Which I don't like him, I mean,
other than
I don't want to
black
buy him.
brown bears.
Putting the bears in town is a big deal, eh? Because it might go after somebody. Only radio for the Yukon Flat. This is KZPA 900 on your AM dial in Fort Yukon, Alaska.
Paul Herbert, a local radio DJ, was one of the hunters who went after the strange-looking beast. On closer inspection,
Storehouse? I don't think I've been on this one.
was not what they expected. Its pelt was not ice covered. It had short claws and no grizzly-like back hump. This animal had all the physical characteristics of a regular polar bear.
That was on.
Could a polar bear have made it this far inland?
They're not found beyond 25 miles from sea.
Or was it something else entirely? Fort Yukon is more than 250 miles from the coast. That's 10 times the normal range of polar bears. This bear was so far off its normal feeding ground that it raised questions about its origins. Could this bear be Pisley number 2?
I talked to that fishing game lady. She said that, you know, it might be a hybrid with
obtain tooth for aging. We don't have age yet. We've also sent
That is a big guy.
specimen material in to see if this bear is genetically a pure polar bear or a hybrid. We're anxious to hear what the result of that analysis is.
Each year, more and more people come face to face with wild bears, and they are reporting alarming behaviors. Bears are exhibiting a disturbing boldness, apparently losing some of their natural fear of man. In Lake Wanda, New Jersey, barely 45 minutes from Manhattan, peaceful neighborhoods are being invaded by bears, to a point where people are...
Why are you coming towards me? You stupid.
They're huge. There's no stopping them.
Get him, get him, get him.
Melissa Mead and her family have been living in Lake Wanda for 6 years.
A bear comes to my yard and wants to get at my children. There's absolutely nothing I can do about it. The dogs don't matter to them. What do you do? What do you do? The only thing I can do is throw myself in front of my children and hope they make it in the house.
Eric Buck is a hunter who believes that the problem is getting worse.
Here we have a dumpster, which is only about 20 yards away from where children were playing at a daycare center. And here we have major bear activity in bending up the lid. The destruction that it caused on this heavy gate just tore it apart. This is a post that was actually snapped off by the bear. And you're looking at a post here that's pretty large. This just shows the power and strength of a bear. And this is where children are playing. This is a daycare center.
But these bears have not always been this brazen.
They used to take off. If you even opened the door or they heard the dog bark, they would take off. Now, they own my yard. I don't know why.
There's been a massive change in bear behavior over the last couple of years because bears are getting older. They're moving into residential areas. They're not afraid of people anymore. This is becoming a real problem, and it's changing. It's getting worse and worse every year. There are too many bears, and there's not enough habitat to support them.
This recent phenomenon of unusual bear sightings and activity may not be as uncommon as you think. Giant bears also appear regularly in Native American legends.
They say these bears are so large they don't actually chew their victims, they swallow their victims.
Neil Christopher is an expert on Inuit legends.
They'll explain how large it is by comparing it to a giant bear. It's just like a polar bear, from my understanding. You have to swallow an adult without having to chew. It's thought that the body is so massive that the legs can't hold its weight for very long on land.
Out in the Alaskan wilderness, a monster quest expedition is underway, looking for unusually large bears. Paleontologist Blake Schubert is doing recon around camp, looking for signs of their presence.
Yeah.
They have spotted a bear on the way in, and it could be hiding anywhere around here.
It's scary. Because every little hilltop you go over, you wonder whether or not there's going to be a bear there.
A few miles away, Jim Olderstorm is installing measuring equipment.
I need to do different lengths to see how big of a bear we can bring into the photographic trap here.
To try and keep this installation as human scent-free as possible, Jim uses timber found on the gravel beach to construct a suspended bait system. The purpose of this is to get the bears to step on the electronic scale.
A little over 10 feet. Might see a big one.
Bears have an incredibly powerful sense of smell, 6 times more sensitive than that of a bloodhound. If the human smell around the equipment is stronger than that of the baits, the bears might decide to stay away.
Right on the money.
With the scale and graded bait system in place, Jim hooks up the motion-activated camera traps.
Did he leave? Did he left?
Photograph from 3 different angles. There are 2 kinds of bear attacks, defensive or predatory. Most are defensive ones and happen when bears are surprised at close range.
If there's a bear that's sound asleep along a trail and you're walking along not making noise, and the bear wakes up and sees you as a person looming over it 15, 20 feet away, that's a bad situation to put a bear in, because it immediately has to wake up and decide whether to just run away or to try to fight to protect itself.
In this type of attack, playing dead may save your life.
Stop, put your hands behind your neck, cover the vital areas of yourself, roll into a ball, and remain absolutely still.
Predatory attacks are less frequent, but a lot more dangerous, whether you're talking about grizzly bears, polar bears, or black bears.
All three species of bears, on occasion, have attempted to kill and eat. And if the bear is doing that, playing dead doesn't do anything.
In these cases, there is only one thing to do.
You have to fight claw and nail, no pun intended, because he's going to fight you and he's going to eat you. So do anything that you can. We find many times punching them in the face with your fist, trying to gouge their eyes, will save your life.
Bears are wild animals, and even those that work with them on a daily basis can be caught off guard. In Alaska, miles from any civilization, a monster quest expedition is underway looking for giant bears like this 1,200-pound giant shot in 2001. Wildlife photographer Jim Oltersdorf and paleontologist Blaine Schubert have set up camp on the Kenai Peninsula, where the biggest bears can be found. They have installed an electronic scale and a great bait system, hoping that the bears just out of their den, hungry enough to ignore the human scent, inevitably found all around. But right now, everyone is hoping to get a few hours of sleep, knowing that a livestock electrical fence is all that stands between them and whatever may be out there, lurking in the shadows.
I think bears are less afraid of humans.
Dale Bagley is a native Alaskan. He has been hunting in these woods for the past 25 years, but nothing could have prepared him for what happened in April of 1993.
It was a beautiful sunny day. I went for a walk, and I had my rifle and a .44 because I was actually looking for an area to moose hunt in the fall, and I was heading through a thick area of brush, and all of a sudden I was aware that birds were making a lot of noise, and I started to take a closer look at my surroundings. There's a moose kill that was laying there, and I was backing up, getting out of there when the bear woke up, turned around and looked at me. It was a big bear, and I pulled my .44 out. I fired a shot in the air, and the bear kept on getting to its feet and immediately started coming at me. So I put the .44 back in its holster. I raised my rifle up. I fired one shot, and it was like the bear hit a wall and came to a stop. But then it kept on coming, and I was going to squeeze again, and my rifle had jammed. I took a few steps while I was getting my .44 back out of the holster, and then it slammed into me, knocking me to the ground. He bit me 3 times, lower jaw, mid area, and the top of my forehead. And I've got about 200, I had 200 stitches, staples, and sutures in my head. It pretty much broke every bone in my head.
This ferocious attack could have been avoided. The normally fearful bear could have gone the other way. But according to Bagley, bears are changing.
When I was a kid, it was like 1 in 10 years. Now we're having 1 to 2 bear attacks every year. So there's definitely been a shift.
Are bears evolving, losing their natural fear of man? Or is it just a case of habitat encroachment? Although Dale Bagley's account could support the theory that bears are vicious killers, this man disagrees.
You're being nice, aren't you? Bears are not getting more aggressive.
Lynn Rogers heads up the wildlife. He has been working with black bears for over 40 years.
And you are the world's largest black bear.
This black bear is almost 900 pounds.
Why aren't you ferocious? Attacks by black bears are very rare. And they're not by others defending cows as many people think. That's one of the myths about black bears.
Oh crap.
Old bears, young bears, injured bears, starving bears. There's really no pattern.
Attacks could even be by bears raised in captivity. Sends that nervous bear flying.
Pepper spray is a really effective defense against any bear that comes closer than you feel comfortable.
Pepper spray is a joke. It wants to get that close to the bear.
In New Jersey, Melissa's neighbor also thinks the problem is too big for a couple of cans of pepper spray.
Bears are getting less afraid of humans. Yes, they are becoming bolder. Yes, they are becoming more aggressive, and they are becoming a bigger danger to any neighborhood.
Black bears are using Jen Spadaccini's backyard as a trail to move across the neighborhood. Eric Buck checks for recent signs of activity.
The ground's pretty hard, so you're not going to see many prints or anything unless it was wet or muddy.
They go around the wall this way, and then head out into the street. They also come this way. And what they do is they cut across my side yard here. So I am their path. My yard, my property is their path to and from their feeding stations.
Back in Alaska, Jim and Blaine are on the run. After a restless night of sleep, they are trekking their way through brown bear country.
Those bears could be anywhere.
Looking for unusually large bears.
Coming to a place like this, you're different level on the food chain than you are in most other places in the world. And so you have this feeling, this eerie feeling that these bears could come in. There's some claw marks right there. Not a big bear, pretty small bear. Sharpening his claws. There. 4.5 foot baby.
At this time of year, the cubs are sticking close to the mother bear. It's an especially volatile situation. In defense of her young, the mother bear will either keep her distance or attack without provocation.
Hey Jim, back here, look at this.
Boy, they're sick in here, aren't they?
Really small cub here.
Evidence here proves that there were large on the Kenai Peninsula. But even for an experienced active hunter like Oldest, if a bear doesn't want it, it's nearly impossible to track it down. But Eric Buck is looking for bears moving into suburban territory.
Damn it.
He's trying to find what he is looking for.
No. No, no, no. Damn it. Don't worry, I'll struggle. I'll struggle. Oh, never mind.
Bears are getting bigger and are losing their physical power. This man is a world-renowned expert on the giant short-faced bear. Although he's white, he says it's not impossible that this bear could have survived somewhere in this wilderness. This man claims that we have not yet solved all the mysteries surrounding the bears. This woman is afraid her children might get attacked by black bears in their own backyard.
Get in the house. Come on.
In Alaska, Blaine Schubert and Jim Oltersdorf are looking for unusually large bears.
Bear tracks all over through here. A bear could be laying down right there and jump you. You never see him until it's too late.
I cannot ever begin to imagine lying underneath a bear and being ripped to shreds.
These bears are so powerful that a human doesn't stand a chance against them.
But their expedition yields only a brief glimpse of a bear in the distance.
It just doesn't happen today. I wish it did.
It's not an unusual scenario. Bears are stealthy and intelligent animals. In nearly every situation,
Actually, let's try to find a match that I can actually be the killer.
Even the graded bait system failed to lure them in. 3,500 miles from Alaska, New Jersey, the black bears are in a different frame of mind. They have invaded a small community showing absolutely no fear of humans.
We see more bears in neighborhoods now than we do in these open woods. There's something wrong with that.
Hunter Eric Buck is investigating. While patrolling one of the neighborhood's wooded areas, Eric and the Monster Quest crew found what they were looking for. This was just a few yards away from homes and backyards.
There. I see him.
That black bear stayed there for several minutes, oblivious to the crew. It finally ran away when Eric Buck tried to get even closer.
We have too many bears, not enough habitat, and animals are competing for only so much food, so many food sources.
With the expansion of humans into bear territory, bears are becoming more at ease with humans. And they are not only bolder and more assertive, but also, as the evidence suggests, bigger and more aggressive. One of the great mysteries of the giant bear legend is called McFarlane's bear. It was shot and killed in 1864 and sent to the Smithsonian Museum. Some people believe it could be the last remains of the giant short-faced bear. Now back in Washington, paleontologists finally have a chance to
This is why I never get the killer. I eventually did. This is kind of boring.
Unusual or unidentified physical characteristics.
And by looking at the teeth, looking at the jaw, I would be able to determine whether or not it is just another brown bear.
Holy
or possibly
crap.
something else.
Because McFarlane's bear is classified as a holotype, a first collected specimen, cameras are not allowed access, just scientists like Schubert. After examining it, Schubert is emphatic.
I'm 100% confident that this is a brown bear. It actually is a very small individual, a small female, a young age. And so,
Ooh,
stories
2,
I've heard about this
1,
bear, I was expecting a really large
fight.
animal.
McFarlane's bear may not be prehistoric, but people are still seeing huge bears in the wilderness. The white bear shot in Fort Yukon turned out to be a pure polar bear, not a hybrid. No one will ever know why that bear traveled 10 times further than it should ever have done. Climate changes have grizzlies and brown bears going north, while polar bears are wandering further south than ever before. Perhaps this is part of the natural order, but on Monster Quest, natural is not always normal.
I don't think that it's realistic to think that we could develop a super grizzly in 100 years.
Running survivors leave red scratch marks in the environment that only killers can see. Use them to trick survivors' movement.
It's gone up in the last 2 decades, not down the way you'd expect. So there is still a possibility of finding unknown bear species.
Because of the vastness of Alaska, where man hasn't even walked and penetrated this wilderness, you better believe there's something that's going to surprise all of us someday.
Is it loaded yet? 3?
Yeah.
Come on, last time I played this map, it was like impossible to find the goddamn hatch, and I played it with this character also. Already? Who do I have in my game? Armando?
Legendary creature lurks, ready to pounce.
This was much bigger than any tarantula.
So when it was reared out,
It would raise up to the size of a human being.
The native people here say it was big enough to kill their livestock, even their children.
They build their huts to protect them.
Monster Quest probes the rainforest, on foot, by boat, and on primitive jungle roads in search for these giants, employing a high-tech camera that can even follow them underground.
Okay, it's a big tumor.
Plus, a second expedition searches the desert for another huge raptor, one rumored to be feasting on the flesh.
Oh yeah, don't go in there.
yeah, the ugliest fangs I've ever seen in my life.
Are giants among us?
A body the size of a cat would have things probably 8 to 9 inches, which is a considerable.
Witnesses around the world report seeing monsters. Are they real or imaginary? Science searches for answers. On Monster Quest. This is the Amazon basin of Venezuela, home to a primitive native Indian tribe called the Piero. But the people here say this jungle is home to something else. Monster spiders. Larger than any documented in history or science. One wonders if such a thing could exist. And yet reports are nothing new. Around the globe, people have reported encounters with huge arachnids.
His body was this big. It was brown in color, very thick body, powerful, thick legs.
Yeah, the ugliest fangs I've ever seen in my life.
Sizes, descriptions, and species vary in different parts of the world. But on the extreme end of the spectrum, eyewitnesses describe specimens up to 5 feet apart, with huge fangs and hairy bodies the size of small dogs. These monster-sized spiders might be a type of tarantula, the largest known spiders in the world, or they could be an entirely unknown to science.
Invertebrates.
Come here, boy.
The diversity of any species or any organism on the planet. Speaking specifically about spiders, there's about 50,000 known species, and probably usually 10 times more than that have not been found.
Have fun.
The largest known tarantulas in the world, called the Goliaths, native to the Amazon rainforest of South America.
Okay, there's a hook right here, so there's no point of going.
Catch and kill their prey with the help of a web. But the Goliaths are ferocious predators, silently stalking the victims before pouncing to deliver the fatal blow. Their fangs are large enough to pierce through human skin, and their bodies are covered with urticating or stinging hair. In an attack, they shoot them at their prey, puncturing the skin like shards of fiberglass. No one has ever been able to produce hard evidence of the spider or any others larger than 10.5 inches. So Monster Quest is sending arachnologists with
Go away.
into the Amazon rainforest, looking for species larger than anything ever documented. West is traveling to Venezuela, to the tiny town of Puerto Ayacucho. Here we meet Amazon guide Juan Carlos Ramirez. The Amazon is 1.4 billion acres of dense rainforest,
Catch the trap.
teeming with poisonous dart frogs
And put them on the hook.
and anacondas. It's nearly the size of the continental United States. And it's the perfect hiding place for a giant species of spider.
This species of spiders are being found every week, every month, every year. So the possibility of finding a giant spider, I think, is very possible, and I hope to see it.
Reports of monster spiders in the Amazon rainforest. There are other places around the globe with stories of giant spider sightings. One of history's most terrifying giant spider sightings took place in the jungles of the Congo in Central Africa. It happened to a British explorer, R.K. Lloyd, and his wife, Marguerite. In 1938, Lloyd and his new bride decided to go on an adventure safari for their honeymoon.
As Mr. and Mrs. Lloyd were driving down this jungle track in the middle of the Congo rainforest, they saw a very odd-looking creature crossing the trail ahead of them. Now, at first they thought it was either a very large monkey on all fours, or maybe a large jungle cat. But as they got closer to this creature, they were horrified to see that it was actually a gigantic spider, something like a tarantula.
According to Lloyd, the spider had a 4 to 5 foot leg span, but he was unable to document the sight. As Lloyd reached for his camera, the giant spider scurried back into the forest and disappeared.
Back in the old days of the Congo, explorers, big game hunters, from time to time they encounter strange animals, including giant spiders, but they often don't report these observations for fear of just being ridiculed. After all, who's going to believe a story of a spider with a lifespan of 4 or 5 feet? That's almost as big as a human.
Despite numerous sightings around the world, giant spiders are unknown to modern day science. But history does make a case for the existence of such a monster. 390 million years ago, there were giant prehistoric creatures called Gigalothus granii, measuring some 8 feet in length.
Gigalothus granii was a very large sea scorpion, a little bit bigger than a crocodile, a really good-sized crocodile. It was a very large fish, and anything else you can get with that size, anything you could grab and eat, including members of its own kind. It was definitely the top predator of its day.
A fossilized claw of this creature was found in 2007 in Germany. It alone measured more than 1.5 feet long, suggesting creatures like scorpions and spiders once grew to monster-sized proportions.
People always knew that there was other large arachnids and arthropods in the past, but no one really knew how big they could get.
But if there is evidence of a giant arachnid 390 million years ago, could one still exist in the remote regions of the world? It's day 1 of this monster quest expedition in Venezuela. Their first stop, the small town of San Rafael de Manuel on the Colombia-Venezuela border. Here, West and Ramirez are looking for first-hand accounts of giant spiders lurking in the nearby jungle.
Okay, gracias. Yes.
And they are led to this man, a Figueroa shaman, the gatekeeper to the spirit world.
He's telling that person in the village saw
The village
saw.
saw.
It was a tarantula, but they actually saw it taking a dog. Taking a dog from the village into the jungle.
When he was born, the story goes, a giant tarantula crept out of the jungle into the village where it caught a small dog. There was no chance to escape. The spider delivered a fatal dose of poison and proceeded to drag the dog into the forest.
There's something to take down the dog. Has to be massive. How big? What do you say?
Match result. Brutal killer.
He's showing the size of the abdomen. Just the abdomen. Yeah, so bigger than a basketball.
Not that good with the big.
Así de alta. Cuando levantaba las patas. So when it was reared out, it would raise up to the size of a human being.
A spider as big as a man is massive. But where is the evidence? Is it possible the locals are seeing something else entirely?
Yep.
A monkey? Or a large 3-toed sloth?
It never crosses my mind that they're mistaking this for any other big animal in the jungle. They know exactly what a tarantula looks like, and they're accurate on what they're saying.
West and Ramirez are moving on, one step closer to finding their giant. From the village, they head down the Orinoco River to their base camp at the Orinoquia Lodge. The spiders they are looking for will most likely be burrowed deep beneath the ground, so West has come armed with a special camera GE's XL Video Probe to help them peer deep into their lair.
Oh, God.
The probe is normally
God, there's
used by the
two.
airline industry to see inside equipment like aircraft engines and by police to conduct surveillance in tight spaces. The device has never been used for this purpose before.
And if there is one there, we want to get her out because she looks enormous. Then we can go at it. I can hardly wait to get into the jungle and use that.
Existing evidence of giant spiders is sparse. But in 2004, this photo from Iraq of an 8-legged monster surfaced and began spreading like wildfire. The picture shows what appears to be an enormous, alien-looking creature.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0.
Racing along the desert floor at speeds of 25 miles an hour. For human flesh. They are called camel spiders, a known animal. But are these photos and stories hoaxes or evidence that camel spiders grow to be giants? Monster Quest takes a closer look at these stories to see if they are more than urban legends. And for biological clues, we
Facing the lesion? The lesion hits you while their power is active. You'll be affected. Alright.
Like the Iraqi desert, it's also one of the many places around the world where these creatures are said to lurk. In Texas, they are known as Montevenados, or deer killers.
We have everything? We've got it. We good?
Daisy, what are you doing?
The expedition is Christy Reddick of Texas A&M. Joining her is fellow entomologist Jessica Honecker. Reddick and Honecker will spend the next 2 days scouring the sun-scorched desert and rocky terrain for these 8-legged creatures. If they find any outside specimens or anatomical abnormalities, it could lend credence to reports from the Middle East. Their tools include camera traps and spider-sensitive tracking nets. They begin day one in the north section of the park.
There are several different species all across the sort of southwest of America, up into Colorado, Wyoming. We're dealing with a June, July time to plant. They can be found later in the winter, but this is sort of a prime time for salvage.
Will Reddick and Honecker actually be systems of human ability for them?
Yep.
And Venezuela, the hunt goes underground. Around the world, legends are told of giant spiders with a leg span of 5 feet or more. In Iraq, some servicemen and women have allegedly been bitten by a giant desert predator, a camel spider. Stories coming back from the battlefield tell of a flesh-eating creature with enormous jaw, a creature the size of a small cat. These GIs have heard the stories.
The ones I've seen are almost as large as my hand, not quite, but almost, and I have some big hands.
They had the ugliest fangs I've ever seen in my life. If you ever saw the Predator, that's exactly how their mouth looked.
I don't fear a lot of things, but that spider in particular just sent chills down my spine.
This picture from Iraq surfaced on the internet. But is this evidence of an 8-legged monster in the Iraqi desert, or a photographic fake? Our expert will analyze this evidence. These spiders are also rumored to attack GIs at night. But are these real encounters, or urban legends? In the deserts of Iraq, as the stories go, the serviceman is about to bed down.
What is he doing?
He settles into his cot, but beneath him, something lies deep. As the lights turn off, the creature crawls beneath the sheets towards his arm. The creature tears into his flesh, delivering a dose of numbing anesthetic with its venom. The soldier feels nothing as he sleeps.
The spider is shearing chunks of flesh away. Of course, he doesn't realize he has it because it's an anesthetic that's been distributed.
When the soldier wakes up the next morning, his arm is covered and blood, the flesh and muscle eaten away. Christy Reddick and her partner Jessica Hunter are on the hunt for camel spiders in Seminole Canyon outside Lowell, Texas. They are skeptical that giant camel spiders exist, but are open to looking for one.
And remember, they're not going to be necessarily under these huge rocks.
Known camel spiders are not spiders at all, but a close cousin called solids. Camel spider is a popular term. The name originates from the sun.
Fuck. Shit. Jesus Christ. That one was way too early. Why are you doing this? Why is he doing this?
Chris, there's a tarantula over here. Get it, get it, get it. Brown tarantula, and they're really common in this area, but I don't know how many years they've been really scarce.
But this is not the spider they are looking for. They release it and continue on.
Come on. Okay, fine.
No one has come forward to say where and when this picture was taken. But Danny Mendez of the Liberty
Why did he do that?
analyzed the photo.
Here you have essentially this giant tangle of legs and fangs and arms, and it looks absolutely enormous when you're looking at the scale of the soldier's leg behind it.
The biggest specimen of the creature ever found in the Mideast was 6 inches long. But the monster in the picture is claimed to be 6 times the size. Could this be a newer, larger, more ferocious species?
Looking at this picture, it looks like you're looking at one giant organism, when in fact, you're looking at 2.
The picture shows one camel spider clinging to the second with its powerful jaws.
You can clearly see that there's 2 smaller, significantly smaller spiders there, and not the one big one that you would think of by looking at this first picture. By looking at the scale according to the hand and the cuff of the soldier up here, I'd say those are probably no bigger than about 5 to 6 inches apiece.
So the angle of the photo and the position of the camera makes the creature look much larger. Back in Texas, night falls as Reddick and Honecker set up motion sensing cameras to aid in their search. They train the camera's laser targeting beam onto their bait. A fleshy pig's foot, meant to test whether a camel spider will eat the flesh of a large animal.
If it comes, we'll catch it on the camera, because it's really going to have to gnaw into that flesh and tear chunks of it off, if it comes.
Next, they head out under the light of the moon in search of evidence.
But if you do roll a rock and find one, you've got to be on your game.
They set up a low-tech but very effective trap to draw the camel spiders to them. A simple lantern.
What this is going to do is it's going to attract sort of flying insects and crawling insects, and that in turn will hopefully attract some solidages.
And back in Venezuela, day 2 of the expedition is underway to find a monster-sized spider. Rick West and Juan Carlos Ramirez returned to the village of San Rafael de Menuare for a more extensive search. The shaman takes them deep into the jungle where a huge spider may have dragged a small dog to show them how to catch any giant spiders they encounter.
What now?
Although spiders have 8 eyes, they see very poorly. Instead, they rely on vibrations to sense if prey is nearby. The shaman leads them to a den that likely holds a spider. Using a vine, he slowly draws the creature out.
Oh, I can see it. That's a big one.
As it emerges from its lair, they can see it's big, but it is not their monster. The shaman lures more spiders from their underworld. And prepares them for this rarely seen meal.
Alright guys, hold on, I'm done.
Before placing the body on the fire for grilling.
I'm just gonna, get out of here.